From RocioFlores.com, and I want to talk to you guys about planning. So I am on my computer right now planning week stuff and chatting. I'm not in the chat right now, so I thought it'd be a good time to do a little live since I haven't gotten on in a little bit. And so the reason I want to talk about planning is because I've had a lot of people ask me, hello, how I go about planning, for example, all of my posts. Oh, you're welcome. Hello. And so the reason I have a system now is because I did it in the beginning. And so I really struggled with it. And so I have a system now for how to put out posts, how to put out content, how to, what to do every single day, just so that I'm super scheduled. And I've scheduled myself in a way that I can do the minimum every day and still have everything that needs to be done if I can only do the minimum. So, and this is something that I talk about a lot, talk about being able to do your minimums. And so, for example, people who deal with chronic illness, people who deal with mental health issues, people who deal with just busy lives, sometimes you can't do everything. And so if you leave everything, just like on a list, this is what I got to do every day. And if you just leave it to the day of, what happens if, an emergency pops up? What happens if you're just really tired that day, or you're struggling with something else, or you're sick, or you have an appointment, or some family emergency comes up, or you have your kids, or, you have life going on. And so if you have life going on, you might really, really struggle with getting things done, because there's always going to be something that takes your time. There's always going to be something that comes up that's last minute, that's an emergency, that needs to get done right now, and that will keep you from being able to do the things that you need to do. So how do you kind of plan ahead so that that doesn't happen, and so that you're still getting done just the bare minimum to keep you going, and so that you can thrive and do more? So first and foremost, you need to know what your minimums are and what you need to do in general. Auntie? That's weird. I don't know what that means. Sometimes I get weird messages and I don't understand people. I'm sorry. Just explain me. Yes, first and foremost, I want to make sure I state that I'm going to be posting this on YouTube after it's done. So I'll download it and post it on YouTube for those of you who don't get a chance to, or who can't see it right now. And so I will post it on there later. Okay, guys? It's at bit.ly/RoseYouTube, all lowercase. So, the first thing you need to realize is what needs to be done. And so, if you're somebody who does online marketing like I do, or somebody who's trying to do like a little online business, you should have tasks that you need to get done. It's a little bit different than, for example, somebody who has like a regular life, who, works at a regular job and has regular duties. You're gonna have completely different tasks than me, for example, right? But in general, if you're on Instagram and you're like a content creator who creates content, obviously content's on the schedule. That's something, right? There's like life tasks, things that need to get done in your life, regardless of how magnificently amazing marketing you do. I mean, you could be like Instagram famous. You still gotta eat, you still have to shower, you still have to pay your bills, you still have to take care of your kids, you still have to go to appointments, you still have to do the things that are outside of Instagram, right? Outside of this world. And so you have to make sure that you're paying attention to those life things, right? And then you also want to put into place the things that need to be done for your business or for your work or whatever it is that you're doing, right? So you got to ask yourself what needs to be done. For example, I know I have to put out content. And so when I first started, that's all I got told, right? Like, you need to write content, make posts about this, make posts about that. And there was so much information coming in and out that it was hard to know what I should or shouldn't post. I knew what in my heart I wanted to post, like the kind of things I wanted to share, that I wanted to talk about. But I was like, for example, there's like, I don't know, if you're in MLM, maybe you've gotten a little cheat or something that tells you like, okay, it's Motivation Monday and Throwback Thursday and Flashback Friday or stuff like that, right? And you could totally do that. I think it can be, it's a really cool tool because people are looking for those things on those days. So it's a really good way for you to connect with other people. But it's also, if you wait to the day of, you might not have anything to post. So you're like, you wake up on Monday and like, I have to do a Motivation Monday post, and I have to do a what is it, like, Woman Crush Wednesday or whatever, like those kind of things. What if you're not feeling it that day? what if you're not feeling very motivated? What if you feel like crap? What if you hate Mondays? Like, you on the day of, or what if you're busy and just can't do it? So you do have to think ahead of time and how you're going to create that content. So when I first started, I was doing it on a daily basis. I was really struggling because some days I wanted to write like 10 posts, some days I wanted to write nothing. And so I would even start trying to save the post that I thought in my head. I'm like, I'll write this and then share it tomorrow, so that way I have spread out, right? And I was getting in a lot of information from a lot of sources because I was doing a lot of learning in general. Hello, guys. And so I was just kind of already writing down sticky notes. So every time I saw a really cool quote, I was like, I'm going to write that down. And then I'd be like, I want to share this. And so then I started sharing the sticky notes, and I started getting a lot of positive feedback from the sticky notes. So that's why I started doing the sticky notes. And I started doing the questions because I'm a coach. And with coaching, literally half the work is asking the right questions. And so I'm already bombarded by questions all day long, like questions that people ask me, questions that I ask people, and in the training and everything like that. And I was like, might as well just make that part of, it's a really cool way for me to kind of show what it is that you do and share with people how questions can be powerful in their life. So that's why I do the quotes and questions, right? Yay. And then I know I talk about personal development, health, and career. So that's how I divide my things up, right? I do posts about that. And then I do blog posts, and I do the same thing. I do personal development, career, and health. And so I know I have to put out some sort of thing on each one, right? And so as far as how much to do, how often to do it, what day to do it, that's completely your choice. Every single person gets to choose that, right? So if you want to do 3 posts a day, 20 posts a day, I mean, that's your choice, 100%. Some things are going to work better than other things. Some things are more realistic than other things. Some people I've noticed have a huge following. They only do 1 post every few days, right? But it's a quality post. It's something that people want to see, that people expect, people wait for. And then there's also like lives and Instagram stories, etc. So there's a lot of content, and so if you're kind of just going without any planning, it can get really exhausting. It can get really like it's taking up all your time. Like, nobody thinks this stuff takes time. It's like, oh, all you do is post on Instagram all day. Yeah, like when you first started and you don't know what you're doing, that's what you're doing. Like, it takes you like an hour to do a freaking post, and you're like, all you wanted to do was share a picture of your food. Next thing you know, it took you like 10 minutes to edit, 10 minutes to choose the right lighting, to do this, and that, to write the right post, to share the right information, to share, to comment, to, oh my goodness, it takes forever. It's actually like work. Like, you never thought that. And I think of like the people who work at BuzzFeed all day, or who work at like the major companies, that's their job. Like, they get paid to do these things because it's work. So it makes total sense that if you didn't plan, it's taking too much time, it's taking a lot of effort, and it's taken away from the time that you could be using for other productive activities, right? So your content's only one part of this business. You need to be talking to people. You need to be making sales. You need to be doing the other parts, right? The money-making parts. So how do you do the content and not, like, freak out, right? And so, for example, something I did was I knew I was going to do the sticky notes. I knew I was going to do the questions. So I planned it. And I have a list on what days goes, how many times a week goes which one at what time. And so I know how many I'm going to do a week. I know how many I'm doing in a year. So I counted out how many I'm going to do for the entire year. I wrote down all the quotes. I created all of the posts. I edit them all at once. And then what I do is I downloaded them all with the right dates. And I actually do downloads once a month. So I download them once a month, just in case something happens and I got behind and I like lost a post, or I didn't post one day. That way I have days to kind of put them into. I could have done it a year ahead of time, but then all you gotta do is like mess up one day and you kind of mess up the whole year. So I do them once a month, and then once a week I upload them into a Hootsuite. And Hootsuite's a program that allows you to post things like to many different places. So like I write them one spot, and then it gets sent out to Facebook and Instagram, and it gets scheduled out. So I do it all on Monday morning. I just put out all my posts at once. And it's kind of like a heavy morning, right? Because on the heavy morning, I'm doing all the posts, all my blog posts, all the scheduling, all the uploading. And, but you only got to do it that day. And then they just got to come up, right? And so, same goes with, now that I'm doing, like, for example, I'm sharing my food posts. I've got it like this, where it's like, now I just do. And I know exactly what needs to come at what time. and what I can do without. So I got my minimums. If I get my planning done in the beginning of the week, I don't have to do it for the rest of the week, right? So I don't have to think about that part. I'm still putting out content. I'm still putting out valuable content that can help people, because what I want to say and what could help people can be said on any day of the week, and I can say it on Monday and show it to you guys on Friday, right? Now what I did is I also allowed myself the ability that if I want to share something that's a little more spontaneous, I could do it at any time of the day on that day and take my time with it, and if I want to, but then it's extra. So it's not a matter of how I feel that day or whether I feel capable or if I was busy. It doesn't matter, because the content posts that I know are valuable and helpful for people are there. There's something there for people to see, something there to attract them to the page, to lead them to a service or a product, without me having to be 100% present at that moment. Now, I do think it's important to schedule time to go through messages, to go through comments, to sit there and like posts and engage with people online, because that's a huge part of how you get attraction, and you can schedule that as well. So for example, I've got a little list here, and it's got a very basic, like Mondays do this, Tuesdays do this, Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays do this. And in there I have time that's specifically for planning the week and planning my content and my scheduling and for example, like that's the day that I do all my budgeting. I sit down and write my goals for the week. I schedule my hours. I look at what I have scheduled as far as sessions and stuff like that. I know what posts I'm going to do. I send out birthday messages for people when I'm like, make sure that I don't miss people. Sometimes I do. So, sometimes you just forget to do things. And so I try to plan out the week. Like, if a birthday's coming up, I know this week we're going to have to go get a gift, right? And so you plan those things ahead of time so you know what to think of. And then I know that my basic tasks for Tuesday are this. I have, for example, I have like scheduled my live chat sessions, and then I know what time my lunch should be at because I scheduled that ahead of time. Hello. And then I so for example, last semester I had therapy on Tuesday, so I know that that's a day that, regardless of what else is going on in the week, I know I have a schedule. I know I have an appointment, so I can't schedule anything during that time. Right now during the summer I don't have that, so I have extra time I opened up my schedule for sessions. So now I have more chat sessions available. So I have the time set and the minimums that need to be done on those days. Now let's say there's other stuff coming up. Like for example, this week I have my appointment for my wrist. By the way, I'm not wearing the thing. I still have it, and I'm allowed to kind of let it free while I'm typing and stuff, as long as I don't hit anything. But I have my appointment this week, and then I have a photo session on Friday. So I know that those 2 days I have to kind of switch my schedule around. My minimums for those days are slightly different. So on those days, because I know they're a little bit weird already, I can schedule other things in there that need to get done. Right? So like I know that I'm going to go from my appointment to come home to clean to come home, and then I'm going to do some other stuff that are like some other personal stuff and get that all out of the way because it's kind of a weird day, right? But what I try to do is try to look at the whole week on that first planning Monday and think, I'm going to have time on Thursday to do these things, so I'm going to put them all in there, right? And then also try to you want to make sure you're scheduling downtime and time for family and time for other things, right? So like I know Friday nights are church nights, so I don't schedule anything for Friday nights, and it's an important part for me, so I just keep it that's just free. Now after church I don't always know what's going to happen, so sometimes we come home, sometimes we go out, sometimes we it's kind of we leave that time open in case family wants to go to dinner, in case we want to come home and watch Grey's Anatomy. The season's over now, so we don't get to watch it. So, for example, other things can pop up. So, I leave that time open, and then we just kind of go with the flow, unless we plan something. Unless we're like, we want to do this on this day, right? And so, I know for also example, like I get off the computer at 3 o'clock I'm done with my chats. I tell people goodbye, whatever. And then I know that some days I have to go pick up my husband from work. Some days I don't. So that kind of time is like, okay, if I do, then that's what I'm going to do. But if I don't, I get to chill. I get to sit back. Maybe I'm behind on reading. Maybe I need to answer messages. Maybe I can get started on dinner early, etc. Right? But I don't plan anything specifically because I don't know exactly what the schedule is on any given day. I find out the moment of, right? But I leave that time open so that I know that that's that time, that's for that. But I fill it if I can. Like if I'm extremely tired that day, then I'm going to use it to rest. I'm going to sit down and be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything right now. If I have a ton of energy, I'm going to clean, I'm going to cook, I'm going to take out the trash, and I'm going to organize my papers, and I'm going to do blah, 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 right? So you use your energy when you have it. You do your minimums when you don't. That means that if I woke up, like today's Wednesday, right? So let's say I woke up to just feeling like crap. Let's just say I woke up and my body's in pain, and I feel stiff, and I'm tired. I will, on those days, probably wake up 20 minutes before my husband has to leave for work. And I get up and I just make breakfast, put his things apart, and I just sit there and eat my breakfast slowly until I have to get on the computer. I know I have to be on the computer at 8. That's the time that I've set myself to start. And then I do minimum only my chats. And do I have other things I can do? Do I have other things that I could be doing at the same time? Yeah, but my minimum is, on my schedule, my minimum is just do chats. Right? That's where my focus is on. If my brain is just not working, I can't have other things going on. Some days I can do a chat while looking up websites, while downloading posts, while uploading posts, while writing content, while having YouTube on, while having like my reading out. Like I could do everything at once. Some days I can't. And you also have to make sure that you understand what you're capable of doing at once and what you're not. Because if you're thinking that every day you're going to be able to do 3 things at once, but you're not actually mentally capable of putting the correct amount of energy towards those things and focusing on what needs to be focused on, so something's always getting pushed off, you're always going to have that thing on your list that doesn't get done. So, like, for example, if I'm chatting with people, the moment that that message comes through with what they're saying to me and the moment that I'm responding, I'm not looking at anything else. I won't be writing something else. I won't be thinking about what to write with the other thing or looking up this website or anything. No, because I'm focused on that person, what they're saying and what I need to respond to. That's important to me. I need to be sure. But then again, sometimes people take like a while to respond. Like 30 seconds doesn't seem like a lot for somebody who's writing something back, but it's a lot of time. In that time, I already looked up 3 websites that can help them that I will be able to send to them after the chat, right? In that time, I can download like 4 posts. In that time, I can think of writing my post for the week. I can think of a content for this, blah, blah, blah. So I sit down and I can read half my reading for, half my devotional. So I do things in between. Especially if I get like a downtime where I don't have any sessions scheduled, and I'm not getting a chat right now, I can do a live post because I can talk to you guys. And if it came up where I have to respond, I can do that because it's not a formal video. So I've learned what I'm capable of doing, what I'm not capable of doing. I think that takes time and practice. It's gonna take planning to plan, right? And so as you're learning how to do this, the first thing you have to understand is what has to be done. If you don't know what has to be done, you need to figure that out. So ask people. If you just started like doing a business online, people are telling you do posts. What do they mean by that? Like, what kind of posts? How often should I post? What's important to post? What's not important to post? A lot of people post things that make no sense. Like, they're not attracting anybody, and they're not giving value to anybody, and it's not even good for them. So why are you posting it, right? And so you don't have to do what other people do just because they said you do it or that you have to do it. You could do what you want to do, and you could set up your own plan. You know what you're able to do. You know what you're able to promise. You don't have to feel completely like bogged down by how much you're posting or how much you're having to do. Now, I do think there's certain activities that have to be done that you can't avoid for too long without it affecting your progress. Like talking to people. At some point, you're going to have to try to sell your products to people. At some point, you're going to have to start having conversations and getting better at that. And that can be very daunting. Like, because what I would do, sometimes I go overboard. And they would say you have to, like, message a certain amount of people. So I'm, like, sending out 100 messages in a day, right? And then people respond. And I'm like, I can't keep up with these. And then so I was giving, like, half-assed responses and never getting to a point. And I would be stuck in the conversations with the people that I didn't really want to talk to. Like people who are like either dudes who are coming off flirty and I'm trying to be like, hello, I just mentioned I have a husband. Or things like that, you know, like people who are trying to sell you something who you just kind of want to tell them, like, I'm not interested in the product, you know. There's you know, you could get stuck in a lot of conversations that aren't productive with people that aren't going to, you're not going to benefit, and they're not going to benefit you, who may not even have the same values as you, and like, so you could get stuck in a bunch of conversations that suck. And so maybe what was helpful for me was not to go overboard with that many messages, and to get better at deciphering, is this a bot? If the moment that they do anything that's like a bot, I'll ask a weird question to see how they respond, and if they respond weird, I just end the chat. Just no, I don't need to keep that conversation going online, right? If it's some dude who's being creepy, and they're never gonna buy from you, girls. Like, if a person's being creepy, they're not trying to connect with you for your services. They're not trying to get benefit from you or anything like that. So just cut them off. If it's somebody who's trying to sell you a product, I used to be very nice, and like, yeah, sometimes people have products and you want them. Sometimes you don't. Like, 7 people who sell the same product, who you already have somebody who sells it to you and you know you're not going to buy from them, you can be kind to them, but also kind of let them know that, no, like, don't waste your time with me. Like, like, it's okay. You could chill. Like, I'm not gonna, because you're just wasting their time, because they're thinking that they're, like, prospecting you, and you're thinking that you're prospecting them, and neither of you's prospecting each other. You could be having a completely different conversation about how you could mutually benefit each other if one of you is just honest about what you're doing. And so, you can do that, or you could just, you know, choose whether or not this is a person that you are going to keep talking to. You don't have to talk to everybody that follows you online. You don't have to talk to every person online that you find. I've gotten a lot better at deciphering, you know, is this person worthy? Am I going to benefit them? Am I going to be able to help them? Are they giving me any kind of benefit? Like, should I follow them because I like what they post, or just because I feel rude unfollowing them, etc. So you got to learn what's important and what's not important. And then give yourself time for all of the real things you have to do. Make sure that you put time in to shower in your day. Make sure you put time for eating lunch. Because I've spent so much time, especially when I'm, like, creating stuff. Because it takes time to create things, right? And so, like, for example, last year it was 3 weeks of creating all my posts for the year. All of them. Right? And so then that meant that in those 3 weeks, while I was just, like, copying, pasting, writing this post, writing this, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I forget to eat lunch. That happens sometimes. It's just, if you don't have it scheduled, you'll probably forget. If you don't have something to remind you, and you're in the flow of things, like, once or twice is not a bad thing, but if you're doing it consistently, it's going to end up hurting you. Especially if you're not making up for it at another time. Like, for days that I meal prep, sometimes I have a bad habit of, like, I just want to finish. Oh, I'm almost finished. I just need, like, 30 more minutes, right? And the next thing you know, it's 3, and I haven't ate. And I'm like, dang it. So now I make a conscious effort to set an alarm, and it doesn't matter what I'm cooking, I will make sure that I have certain things, like, while things are boiling or whatever, I'll sit down, have lunch, I'll just eat it quickly, then get up and finish cooking. Now with meal prep, my goal is to do it once a month. That's my goal. I finally got a freezer. My goal is to officially cook every breakfast and every lunch, and enough food for dinners, or enough separated meals, so that I don't have to do any other meal prep throughout the month. So it's a really big task. I would still have to make breakfast for myself because I like fresh breakfast, and I would still have to heat up food, and I would still have to prepare dinner, like put it together, and in some occasions cook it if I want to. But then I wouldn't. It's a lot less time and a lot less effort towards it, and that's my big goal. Right now I'm doing it like once a week. So hopefully that'll come back. I'm getting better at it. If you need help with that, if you need tips for like meal prep or how to do those kind of things, I can help you because I've gotten really good at it. Hello. I always think it's so weird to say hello in the lives because it makes sense in the live, but when I post it later on YouTube, it's not, it doesn't show the conversations that people are sending. So then it just looks weird. I don't know if people on YouTube understand that on live, you know, people are talking. But, yeah. So, another thing to think of is, having a system for how you do things quickly. So, the first time you do anything, you're not going to know what the hell you're doing, and you're going to kind of just go with the flow, right? Pay attention to the steps that you took while doing it. So for example, what I do with my quote posts, obviously, first step is find a quote. So as I'm reading, I find quotes, I have to write them down. Then write it down on a sticky note pretty, and then take a picture of the sticky note. Well, what happens is there's a step in there. I have to find a nice background. I have the right angle. Then I upload it to an editing site so I can edit it pretty, and I can add a watermark. And then I have to download it, and then I have to add the date of the day I'm going to download it, and then I have to upload it into the scheduler with the date, schedule the time, write the post, and choose the social media sites that it goes to. That's like, I don't know, 10 steps, right? Well, now that I know that step, I could do all the steps at once. So I make all the sticky notes at once. I write them all. Take all the pictures at once, edit them all at once, download them all at once, upload them all at once. It's much easier because now you're just going click, 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 right? You're just doing the same action instead of having to think, what's next, what's next, what's next. Same goes with, a lot of my emails, setting people up with, everything's automated now. So I use MailChimp. I use other programs where for my newsletter, I make it my own template because I was doing every single month creating a new email. And I thought, okay, what parts of this email am I always doing? Well, I'm always doing the post. I'm always doing the what I learned, what you can learn. And I'm always doing the links. So now throughout the month, when I first upload my blog posts, I take down those links and I keep them in one spot. And when I upload them, I take down those links for my blog links. And then I download the image or the GIF that I use for it. And then I take a picture of that GIF and I know I'm going to use that in my post, right? And so I do it all at once so that then I can just schedule them for the month. And as I schedule them for the month, they'll just come out. And then when I do my newsletter, it'll just be 100% there. It's just step, 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 step. Now I don't have to think about it because it's always the same. Because you want to create as many systems as you can so that on the days when you don't feel like doing it, all you have to do is just follow the steps. So you don't have to think, you don't have to get creative, you don't have to get all motivated or inspired, you don't have to be like, I got this, you just do it. And it's perfectly okay to do things sometimes and just do it. Because you get it done. And in all honesty, on your end, right, you don't care if I'm tired while I was writing something or not. You don't care if I had energy and was happy. All you care is about whether or not what I said helped you or not. And if it helped you, I'm glad because that's what it's supposed to do. And if it didn't help you, well, then you move forward. So, by the way, I would love feedback. So always comment on my stuff and tell me what you like or don't like. And if it helped you or didn't help you, or if you have a different view. Because a lot of the times, sometimes when I write something, it has several views. And so I'm always afraid that if I put out something that only talks to a specific group of people, people on this are going to be like, that's BS, So let me know when I can write the post. That's the opposite. Anyways, so, okay, make sure you know exactly what needs to be done. Make sure you understand what you can do. Make sure you leave time and space for all of the things that you're going to need to do regardless, and that you can't just plan out of your life or expect to find a spot for them. Do the opposite. So instead of expecting that you'll find time in the day to eat, plan time to eat. You'll find time to do a spontaneous life. You'll find time to do the creative thing because that's something that comes out of nowhere versus the things that have to be done that need to be done regardless. So plan time in your day to be able to use the bathroom and to take a breather, to drink water, to read, to do all the things that you need to do. Now, I do have a really, really cool training that is, it's called the Fire Your Boss training, and it's like a basic outline of the things that you can do if you're an entrepreneur, so that if you're wanting to start and you don't know and you have no idea what to do, it gives you an outline of this is what you need to do to eventually become your own boss. So if you want that, send me a message and I will get that to you. And yeah, it's really simple. And I wish I had paid more attention to it when I first started because I really I completely skipped over it. I tried to make my own. I tried to follow too many things at once. So sometimes you do gotta also stay kind of focused. Again, what exactly needs to be done and what is fluff and can be done if you have time. So, Okay, I'll let you guys go because I gotta get finished downloading my post. This week's a little weird for me because of the Memorial Day and I started late. But again, all my minimums are done. I'm just doing a little by little. Hello. I'm just doing some things, pushing them behind. So, wish me luck though for tomorrow, that they tell me that this is healed and I don't have to wear the thing anymore. And make sure that you keep an eye out. I'm going to be sending out my newsletter this week. So, if you're not on there, make sure that you get on there. It's bit.ly/roselist with R and L capitalized. This thing should let me write on here. I wonder if I can. Yeah. I'm going to send it to you guys. Yay! I wrote it on there. The YouTube people won't understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, so make sure you get on the list, and I will send you guys my newsletter this month, and you guys have a wonderful day. I will be posting this here later, okay? Bye!